Hi, I'm CF Liu, and as an independent advisor who are expert in recommending the best solution that best fitted for your needs and budget, unlike Thai insurance agent who only wants to shove their one and only solution down your throat, which sometimes could be not in your best interest. Anyway, I want to add value to you today by teaching you exactly how you want to know when it comes to buying the best medical card in Malaysia for yourself and your family. There are a total of 10 criteria you want to ensure you have when you analyze your options in getting the best medical card, or you can call it medical insurance for yourself and family. Now, number one, the best medical card or medical insurance in Malaysia will not limit the amount of medical bill incurred in a year to a low six figures. For example, 100,000 of annual limit is considered very low nowadays. You want a medical card or a medical insurance that covers for a hospitalization and surgical procedures of close to 1 million in a year, or ideally more. Basically, seven figures range is very common when it comes to annual limit among the best medical insurance products in Malaysia. This is to keep up and to cover for potential skyrocketing medical inflation many years down the road. Now, number two, the best medical card or medical insurance in Malaysia will not limit the type of treatment options you can undergo in a private hospital. For example, if a doctor recommends you undergo a medical procedure A instead of a medical treatment B, your medical card should cover you fully for what is recommended by the specialist, regardless of the price. Now, some medical card will argue that if you want to go for medical procedure A, then they don't want to cover you, and they only want to cover you for medical treatment B against doctor's best recommendation. You definitely want to avoid this type of medical card. Now, number three, the best medical card or insurance in Malaysia will not refuse to renew your medical insurance policy, or in other words, refuse to cover you with the same premium and with the same terms of coverage after you are hit by any long-term illness or medical conditions. Heck, the best medical card will not even impose any loading or exclusion on you after you are hit by a serious long-term illness. In other words, the best medical card in Malaysia will still cover you at the same premium cost with the same terms of coverage, even if you are hit by a serious or long-term medical conditions. Now, number four, the best medical card or medical insurance in Malaysia will not penalize you for upgrading your room and board rate as stated in your medical insurance policy. Now, sometimes the room and board rate you are eligible for in your insurance policy, well, that type of room is no longer available by the time when you admit to a hospital. So you usually have no choice but to upgrade your room and board rate. Then you have to just pay the difference in the room and board rate. Now that's fine, but some medical card will further penalize you by stating that you need to pay a percentage of the total medical bill. Now these extra expenses could come as a surprise to you if you don't know what you don't know, regardless whether you upgrade your room and board voluntarily or involuntarily. In other words, the best medical card by Malaysian insurers will not penalize you for upgrading room and board rate. Number five, the best medical card or medical insurance in Malaysia will not have any clause in the medical insurance policy contract where it mandates you to share a certain percentage of the medical bill with the insurer if you are admitted to a private hospital, even if you don't upgrade your room and board rate. Again, if you don't know this, then you might be in for an unpleasant surprise. Number six, the best medical card or medical insurance will not limit your options of medical treatment to Malaysia. Commonly, due to the lack of medical expertise or equipment in Malaysia for a certain rare medical conditions, you might be referred overseas. Say you might be referred to a hospital in Singapore. when that happens, the best medical card in Malaysia will still cover your medical bills in Singapore. In fact, the best medical card even allows you to voluntarily seek treatment in Singapore without any referral from a Malaysian specialist or doctor, with the right justifications. Now, the best medical card indeed provides you with this kind of flexibility at the times when you need it the most. Number 7, the best medical card in Malaysia will not increase in price or will not increase in premium every 5 years of age. In fact, the best medical card will be likely not increase in premium that you are paying for the next 30 to 40 years and could possibly sustain until the end of life. Number 8, the best medical card in Malaysia will not frequently remove private hospital from its panel list. Now, when a private hospital is removed from a medical card panel list, then you are at the mercy of the insurance company. Should you seek medical treatment at that hospital who is no longer in the list, because you need to settle your medical bill fully upon discharge, and then you only claim and reimburse back from insurer. Now, this is very disadvantageous to you. The insurer might not reimburse you in full. So the best medical card will not do this to you. Number 9, the best medical card in Malaysia will come with an affordable and reasonable annual premium for your age and occupation compared to others. Now, don't you agree? We should not overpay for a medical card or any insurance for that matter. Therefore, it is important to compare your options by doing an apple-to-apple comparison among all the medical cards in Malaysia and pick the ones that make the most sense for your pocket within the coverage that you think is sufficient and future-proof for you. Now, number 10, last but not least, the best medical card in Malaysia will not dispute your medical claims unnecessarily. Now, that being said, you should always declare truthfully during application your pre-existing medical condition, if any, or any symptoms that might point to a potential medical condition whenever applicable. That way, you prevent future claim troubles. Now, if you like this medical card lesson, give it a like, hit subscribe to get more lessons like this, to watch the next video, so you can get and buy and purchase a long-term medical card for yourself and family. Also, comments below if you have questions, and visit the link in the description below for a complete comparison of all the best medical cards in Malaysia from major insurance companies.